Welcome to Accounting 252 using QuickBooks in Accounting at Kapi'olani Community College. This video tells you how to do the self-check certification and eventually earn all the points for the chapter, even if your work currently has some errors. Having a nice all OK self-check certification is great if you did perfect work, but what if you made errors or if there's just some kind of problem with account names or locations? It's relatively easy to do, and you and your classmates can both learn a lot about QBO by doing it. Keep in mind, most real learning occurs when you have to troubleshoot and think critically, not just follow the recipe card given in the textbook. Here's what you would see if you had an incorrect account balances only. I'm going to go through several errors. So something's wrong with checking, and something's wrong with office supplies. The amounts are off. If this happens to you, then you need to follow the procedures for suppose things did not go so well for you. That's what I just showed you a minute ago in PowerPoint. Let's take a look at this and see what we could do. Now, all I have to do is copy this guy and drop it into my self-check certification file. Here, grab that other guy, drop him in here, and go, uh-oh, guys, what did I do wrong? My checking account is off by 200, and so is my office supplies. One is over, the other one's under. Can you help me figure it out? Then once you've gotten a resolution to it, you post your resolution up on the forum where you initially posted this and try and explain what it was that you did in order to fix it. It's often helpful to post along with this your general ledger report for the proper period, as well as your journal report. Sometimes I've had students go through and like check off everything in the person's file just to like find out for them what was wrong, which is like to me way over the top helpful, but don't expect that. So you should try to do your own resolution first, do your own comparison of your general ledger with the solution general ledger, do your own comparison of your journal with the solution journal, and if it just like you can't find it, then ask for help. Now here's what you would see if you only had a problem with accounts being in the wrong order. Let's take a look at this guy, see what happens when we copy paste it into the self-check certification. Whoops, looks like we have 4 errors. Now, if it's just simply a matter of you having the accounts in the wrong order and it's easily fixed by you switching the order around, here's what you should do. Instead of pasting that guy in there and then trying to fix it later over with the whole right side being all protected, go back to the original trial balance that's wrong and say, oh, I see, equipment is supposed to be before furniture and fixtures. And I'll go back inside QuickBooks and fix it later. Let's cut it right now and I'll paste it where it belongs. Insert cut cells rather. See what we get when we do it now. Control C to copy. Go over to our self-check certification. Paste that guy in there. Everything looks great. So now I have to remember to go back and fix my QuickBooks Online original account name there to get it to pop up in the right order. So again, if it's simply a matter of line order under trial balance versus a self-check certification, you should rearrange your accounts and balances on your trial balance before copy pasting it into an order that matches that in the self-check certification. For example, if this happens when the equity section accounts like your name capital get alphabetized on your trial balance differently from the textbook accounts, on your trial balance, just select the entire row by clicking on the Excel row number, right-click Cut, go to where you want it, right-click Insert Cut Cells to put your accounts in the order matching the self-check certification trial balance. Make sure to double-check your debits and credit columns after doing this, though. After you've done that, then just go ahead and paste your repaired trial balance into the self-check certification. If this is all that's wrong with your trial balance, then you can save your file as a correct or OK file and go back and fix QuickBooks Online later. You don't need to follow the procedures for suppose things did not go so well for you. This should be done, though, only if the accounts you are rearranging are of the correct type. If, for example, you are rearranging a supplies expense account up into the area of the solution trial balance where the asset supply account is, that would not be an appropriate thing to do. And remember, in order for this problem not to carry over to future chapters, you do need to correct the underlying problems in your QuickBooks Online file so that it doesn't carry over. Now, how about this situation? Suppose you had some problems with the number of lines in the self-check certification, like the number of lines in your trial balance is different than the number of lines from the self-check certification. Let's go take it and see what we get. Copy. Go over here. Paste. So this is clearly not something you would want to put up as being okay. And it's not something that you would get anybody to really want to help you with because all you're really doing is just dumping your problem on them. You can see this off by one row. So the problem is that that yellow supplies row there needs to have its own space on the right. The issue though is this right hand side of the self-check certification is protected. So you need to go ahead and unprotect. So again, this is what it looks like when you have extra accounts you're not supposed to have. Or it could be that you don't have as many accounts as you're supposed to have. Either way, you have a problem because the thing isn't going to line up well on the right. But a bigger problem when you have more accounts on your trial balance than there are on the self-check certification because you need space on the right-hand side that you don't currently have. So in general, you want to not touch the data on the trial balance provided on the self-check certification, since of course that's the correct data. However, you could have a situation where you need to alter the number of rows like we do on the self-check certification. For example, you could have somehow included a new account on your trial balance you weren't supposed to have, and you don't know how it got there. If this occurs, the rows on your trial balance and the rows on the self-check certification just aren't lining up. Now the solution is to unprotect the self-check certification file. Insert the number of rows you need. In this case, we need one row right after prepaid insurance to accommodate this supplies account. And insert that number of rows you need, and then copy the last good formula in the differences column downward to show exactly where you were wrong, which is really only going to be in 2 places. Make sure you leave the title and amount columns in the new rows on the self-check certification trial balance blank so that they show up plainly. However, you need to double check and make sure that you have formulas over in the debit and credit columns after doing this so that they clearly show the problem there. To unprotect this Excel self-check certification file, just go to the Review tab, click on Unprotect Sheet, and provide the password, which is PASSWORD. Okay, hang on, please, and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, first, before I show you what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this guy here on the left because I know I need more space than I have. And when I try and click on the right, then it's going to tell me that, I can't touch that. So here's a recap of what we're talking about. Let me leave it here for a minute for you to read. Now to unprotect the Excel self-check certification file and get it in good enough shape to post so that you can get assistance from your classmates, you need to go to the Review tab and click on Unprotect Sheet and give a password. Let me show you how to do that. Okay, I'm in here in the self-check certification. I can click all around over here, but when I try clicking here, I can't touch anything. Nothing will allow me to click in it. I can't insert a row. It won't even allow me to click over here. So what I got to do is I got to go to Review, Unprotect Sheet. And to unprotect the sheet, I got to give the password, which is what again? PASSWORD. Okay, now I can click where I need. And because I had that extra supplies account up there, I'm going to go ahead and insert that row. That's going to allow that guy to show up. And while I'm thinking of it, let me go over here and copy this formula down a little bit and make sure that all my other formulas seem to be pointing at the right thing. Yeah, they're pointing at the right cells, debit versus debit. Okay. So now I'm going to go back. I'm going to pick up my my account, my trial balance that had the extra row in it. Go here, copy that guy, back to the self-check certification, Drop it in. And now what I've done is I've flagged all the errors that I have and indicated to anybody who's going to try and help me, look, you only got to look at these two things. Maybe we can narrow it down and figure out what I did wrong. So again, here's the password. Now, if you recall, there were three things you needed to do. So once you've made the sheet so you can work with it, you need to do these three things. Add the rows in the self-check certification file to accommodate the extra rows you have on your trial balance. Copy-paste your trial balance in the space provided for it, and make sure the rows that are correct line up with the corresponding rows on the self-check certification so you don't have too many errors popping up. And then copy paste some new formulas in the differences column into the blank rows so they clearly show where all your differences are. So a recap here. Here's how you can earn full points with errors. All you got to do is show us how you fixed it eventually. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped.